Hola clase! Today we're going to learn how to make the present progressive tense in Spanish. Here's what we'll be learning. We'll learn when to use the present progressive, how to make it negative, some common irregular forms with some tips on how to figure out what they are, where to put pronouns, and here are some terms I'm going to use: compound tense, auxiliary verb, and present participle. A compound tense is, just like a compound in chemistry, something that has more than one part. So just like a water molecule has oxygen and hydrogen in it and looks like Mickey Mouse ears when I'm drawing it. Aren't you glad I'm not your chemistry teacher? This is a compound tense made of two parts. So it has an auxiliary or helper verb. In this case, it's the verb estar. And it has a present participle. So let's take a look at examples of the present progressive. Here it is. Estoy comiendo fruta. It means I am eating fruit. Now, como fruta in Spanish can mean I eat fruit, like I do it on a regular basis. I am eating fruit. Or I do eat fruit. Yes, I do. I have it every day. But estoy comiendo fruta specifically means that at right this very second, I am munching. This part here is the auxiliary or helper verb, and this is called the present participle. In English, the present participle ends in ing. Some of you may have learned the word gerund for ing, but gerund is actually when an ing is acting like the noun in the sentence, and the present participle is when the ing is indicating that something is in progress. Like, that's the part of the name there, progressive, that I am munching fruit right now. Okay, so let's make the present participle. We're going to start where we usually start, which is with the infinitive. We'll chop off the AR, the ER, or the IR, and we'll add an ending. For almorzar, the equivalent of ing for AR verbs is ando. So for almorzar, it's almorzando. For ER and IR verbs, the ending is yendo. So bebiendo, saliendo. For irregulars, pretty much what you're going to do is look for things that had stem changes in the preterite tense or spelling changes in the preterite tense. So vestir is a stem changing verb. Vistiendo. Leer has a Y in it, in the ellos and el form. And we're going to keep that Y. We won't use it just for the ellos and el form, we'll use it for everybody. And dormir has a change in the preterite too. We're going to borrow that change, the letter U, to make durmiendo, sleeping. Okay, let's go ahead and conjugate one. We could pick an AR verb, an ER verb, an IR verb. I think I'll pick jugar. Since this is a compound tense, I need to put in my auxiliary or helper verb first. So estar. This is one more of the uses of estar. We know to use estar for location. We know to use estar for talking about certain feelings. And we also know now to use it as the helper or auxiliary verb for the present perfect tense. So this is where the change happens in the auxiliary verb. Once I go ahead and add the ing form, the present participle, that won't have any changes. It's called, in terms of grammar, it's called invariable. So jugando, it's going to stay the same whether we use yo or nosotros or vosotros. So yo estoy jugando. Tú estás jugando. Él, ella, usted está jugando. You'll just use it for all of these. Now I have a no up here because you may want to know what we're doing with this no. How do you make it no? It's different than in English. In English we say I am not playing. That's not true in Spanish. In Spanish it goes in front. Yo no estoy jugando. Tú no estás jugando. So make sure that you place it in a different spot than in English. It's not hard. It's just that it's different. So, no estamos jugando, no estáis jugando, no están jugando. Okay, let's take a look at what happens if we have something that is reflexive. We've learned some reflexive verbs in Spanish. Let's pick one for today. Let's pick ducharse. We have a lot of little operations to go on here. First of all, we need to put in the auxiliary or helper verb. Do you remember what that is? Estar is our helper verb or auxiliary verb, and it looks like this. So now we can take off the se part, we can take off the AR part, and we can make a present participle. Do you recall the ending for AR verbs? It's ando. So the present participle or ing form for ducharse becomes duchando. So we have yo estoy duchando, tú estás duchando, él, ella o usted está duchando, nosotros o nosotras estamos duchando, vosotros o vosotras estáis duchando, ellos, ellas y ustedes están duchando. But we have something left. We have the reflexive pronoun. Yo me estoy duchando goes in front, like the no does. Or, actually, you have another option. Yo estoy duchándome. Estoy duchándome. And that needs a little accent written there. So I'm going to put that in so my Spanish teacher license is not revoked. So for the me, te, se, nos, os, and se, for reflexive pronouns, you have a choice of putting them before or after. So yo me estoy duchando, or no me estoy duchando if I'm not showering, or estoy duchándome. So your choice. It can go at the beginning or at the end. It can't go here in the middle. Okay? Can't go in between one part and the other, but it can go before or after. And it's true for reflexive pronouns, it's true for direct object pronouns, and it's true for indirect object pronouns. The choice is yours. It's really a question of style. So pick the one that's easiest for you to use correctly most of the time so that people understand you when you're speaking, and that's the way to go. Let's try some practice. I'm going to ask some question about what you're doing at your place and what I'm doing at my place, and pretend that your whole family's there. So, ¿qué estás haciendo? So I want you to tell me, profesora, I'm drinking mate right now. Remember that you have to change this to make it work for I. And then instead of using haciendo, you're going to take this and make it into a present participle, an ing form. You can pause the recording in between if you need time to think. So, ¿qué estás haciendo? Estoy bebiendo mate. ¿Y tu mamá? I know she's probably not in the room with you right now. Just pretend. Mi mamá está practicando yoga. ¿Y tu papá? Mi papá está comiendo pizza. ¿Y los gatos? Watch out, tricky verb coming. Están durmiendo. ¿Y tus hermanos? Watch out, another tricky verb on the way. Ellos están leyendo. ¿Y tú y yo? What are we doing? Estamos practicando el español. ¿Y tu tío? Mi tío está duchándose. Remember this se doesn't have to be at the end. If you like it better up here, se está duchando, that's your prerogative. ¿Y tus abuelos? Mis abuelos se están acostando. The se can be here at the front if you like, or if you want, it can be at the end. ¿Y tu prima? Watch out, this is a doubly tricky verb. Ella está vistiéndose. Did you get the E to I stem change? And did you get the reflexive part? You can put it here too. Ella se está vistiendo. ¿Y el perro? El perro está corriendo. ¿Y tú? Yo estoy terminando la práctica, profesora. We saw a lot in this video. We saw that the present progressive tense is used for actions that are in progress, things that are happening right now. We know that it's a compound tense made of two parts, the auxiliary or helper verb, which is estar, and the present participle. In English, that ends in ing, but in Spanish, it ends in ando or yendo. We know that to make a sentence negative, we put no before estar, never in between estar and the present participle like it goes in English. We also learned that reflexive, indirect object, and direct object pronouns go before estar or after and attached to the participle. There is actually an accent rule that goes with attaching those pronouns to the end of the participle, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Okay, we're going to have lots more practice in class. Hasta la próxima.